Veronica, mark a car in blue.
Marked car in blue.
Veronica, mark person in pink.
Marked person in pink.
Veronica, mark person in green.
Marked person in green.
Thanks, Veronica.
Hands-on, sort of, what does that look like when you've decided you're going to take on this project and you're thinking about like, okay, how am I actually going to, what am I going to do first? Walk me through sort of what you thought about in terms of how this project would, a little bit of methodology, that sort of progression.
The gist of it is that I break down every bigger problem into smaller problems, right, and try to layer them in terms of complexity. So, when I started off with Veronica, it was like, you know what, let me just get the automatic speech recognition part working. So let me just say something and let me see if it can convert my speech to text, right? And it was doing that. So I was like, okay, now I need a mechanism to trigger Veronica, right? I need a hot word. At the time, I didn't call her Veronica, right? So, it was just an application that I was working with. So I was like, let me just try to see if I can code down a hot word, right? So again, just as I said, I experimented with a couple of names and landed up with Veronica. So once I had that working, that's like the basics, right? So now I know how to trigger my application with my voice, and I can give it an input, right? So that makes the base skeletal system of my application ready, where I can code down something, compile the application, run it, see if it works. If it doesn't, then again go through that loop, right? And the very first thing that I did with Veronica was actually not that exciting, right? So it is something that Google Assistant or Siri could do. It was as simple as, hey, can you tell me the time, or what's the weather like today? And I know there are like a million examples out there, but what I actually believe is when you are starting off with something, you need to take a lot of reference points, and you should try to achieve something that someone else has already built, right? So if it's as simple as object detection or image classification, if you're new to it, the way I preach is, why don't you try to do something that someone else has done already, so that you get accustomed to tools you're using. Once you're accustomed to it, you move on to something that someone else has not done, which is unique, right? So same thing, the initial things I did with Veronica were pretty generic. And then I was like, okay, now that I have a hang of it, now that I know how I can create an intent classification and get, understand the input that I'm giving and take actions on it, I started, at least I tried to be creative, right? So I tried bringing in drones. I tried, having a mapping between a computer vision application running alongside Veronica and so on, right? So I knit everything together with a lot of tools and technologies that are used in the Internet of Things. So with the video that you just played, the way Veronica was communicating with the object detection pipeline was over MQTT. So the object detection pipeline would keep running. It would give a feedback to Veronica, and Veronica would give instructions. So essentially, that's how I went on and built it, and just essentially build it like modules, right? So that you can play with it like a puzzle. Remove the pieces you don't want and plug in the pieces that you want.